Hello, this is episode 1, Biohuman, biohuman.com.au. My name's Michael, and I'll introduce my teammate.
And I'm Tia.
Is teammate going to be the correct term?
Partner in crime.
Partner in crime. Okay, biohacking.
Co-host.
Co-host. Oh, what is biohacking? How do you define it, Tia? Then I'll go next.
Oh, go straight into it.
Yep.
So I think, biohacking is anything that can alter your biology. So biohacking can be a positive or a negative. So eating fast food or being like lazy is a negative biohack. And then eating things like salad and healthy foods and vitamins and doing exercise is a healthy biohack.
I'm going to backtrack
Okay.
just for a second. This is Biohuman episode number 1. We've done zero preparation. We're doing it on the fly. We've done zero interacting with one another, kind of, even though we kind of work together. So this is just learning off the fly. So that was an answer that I wasn't really expecting. Well thought out. I was going to say biohacking is something like anything that can affect us in a positive way. I didn't really think of the negative way. I don't think negative.
Well, hacking is hacking your biology.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, I was just saying that was good. I like to think of it also not just in modern day paraphernalia, but also ancestrally. So I like to think, what can I do that I should be doing as a human being from a genetic standpoint? And then I like to think, well, okay, can I marry that in with 21st century tech? Where do you sit?
Yeah, so what type of things do you use, like, that you think in, like, the ancestry sense that you try and, like, bring in today?
Cool. I'm a super big believer, and probably this is where I started, in diet. Yeah, and I'm Mr. Cool on paleo diet. Having said that, paleo diet is, to me, very tricky. There's so many camps. Is that a fair way to say it? So many camps?
Yeah.
But I'm Mr. Cool with it all. I don't think there is really right or wrong overly, though there's some definite rules that you have to follow. But you can, what I think of as paleo, another person might go, that's not paleo. You're not doing X, Y, Z. So for me, I'm not in that camp. If you define paleo as something, and I think it's pretty cool, I'm going to go, that's great.
Well, also the research on paleo changes because there's a lot of people saying, like, no oats and no rice, and then other people finding early research saying, nope, the paleo did eat that. So the research will change depending on what you want to define paleo as well.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% behind that. Yeah. When I first started paying attention to paleo, they were very hardcore on what they thought was paleo and not paleo. And then you see different research saying exactly what you just said.
My general rule that I try and stick to is if you can't kill it, pick it, or grow it, don't eat it.
I need to have some more cool... I don't have any cool sayings.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's just meat, fruits, and vegetables. And we stick to that. That's generally, like, 90% of the time you'll be right. 99% of the time you'll be right.
I think if you don't eat anything that man makes... Was that on your list just then?
We'll grow and pick. So
Yeah.
all from
If you don't eat stuff that man makes, you're probably close.
Then the argument on that one can be, but all these ingredients come from the earth originally. We just cocktailed them together.
Well, that's just bullshit. I think. Yeah. Okay, so back to biohacking then. That's
Okay.
definitely one.
Okay, so today we're going to go over what our biohacks are that we do on a daily basis.
No, we weren't.
No?
We were going to introduce ourselves first.
Okay.
So I'm going to do me. My name's Michael. I own a gym. It's called Riverside Fitness. I'm a personal trainer. I'm also a tennis coach. What else do I do? Oh, yeah, EMS training. I started off in life as a person who played tennis, and I thought that would be a really good career. It didn't work out. So then I went to university and I studied science, but it wasn't called that back then. It was called human movement studies. And then I found that pretty tough, and And I got frustrated with science because it was just all over the place in the exercise physiology world. Everything changed all the time. It was hard too. And I liked working. So in the end, and this is terrible, I didn't finish the degree.
How far did you get?
95%.
Really? You just need to take the last few exams?
The last 2 subjects of a 1 semester is all I had to do.
You should have just done it.
You sound like my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have.
Most
But
people would agree with me on that one.
I think probably a lot of people would agree with that. But I had the opportunity at the time to take over a company called World Tennis, which I still own to this day, which actually owns the gym. And I was sick of my degree and I was frustrated with it, and I didn't see that I'd ever work in that industry when I was finished, which is ironic because it's exactly what I'm doing. But so I just stopped and I did that for a while, and then I met my wife and we were sick of doing tennis, and I said, let's just open a gym, and that's what we did. And we've been here for 10 years, and then all of those other things I just said, and I've met Tia now, and now we've decided, because she does biohacking, I do biohacking, and we thought we would start this podcast. So that isn't really my whole life, but that's pretty quick.
That
Bang.
sums up.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, where did I start on my one? Well, I guess I started drinking and clubbing at a very young age. My first job was in the nightlife industry as a nightclub DJ.
How come all your stories are so much more interesting than mine?
Because I'm cool.
Continue.
So I grew up in China, but in China, all the internet and stuff was blocked, and I always wanted to lose weight as a teenager. I've probably been dieting strongly since I was 15 years old, trying to lose weight because I've always been a little bit chubby. Then I went to Cambodia and taught English for a little bit, and then outside my classroom, every day they were killing the chickens with like a knife and scissors, and after seeing that, I could not eat meat. So from there, I went into becoming a vegetarian. And because in China, did not have access to the internet, I couldn't Google like how to make healthy foods and what to do. So
how old are you? Do you not have parents?
I was 17.
Okay.
I asked my mum for weight loss advice when I was 16 years old, and her advice was eat an apple a day and do a 5K run. So I ruined my metabolism. So on the weekend, I used to just binge eat because I was starving, because I used to not eat throughout the week. Wow. So my parents had the worst fitness advice. Or my dad would say, just everything you're going to eat half of it. So I used to just
That's pretty good though.
Yeah,
that's
and I used
to
count my food when I was 15 years old to only have 500 calories a day.
And
then
probably
on the
not
weekend
enough.
I'd go out and eat like whatever my friends were eating as a teenager. So probably not the best advice from parents. So then I got to Malaysia and I studied, watched all these documentaries on health and fitness, and one of the first things I Googled was how to make a salad. And I almost burned the salad. You had to cook the almonds. I don't know how, and the smoke in the apartment. I've never cooked before. In China, we had a maid, and she just deep fried food for us.
I don't think this is just China-centric. I think pretty much a lot of people are hopeless at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is why I don't do well with excuses, because I learned how to make food. Like, I taught myself how to, I burnt a salad trying to cook. And then I became vegan. Moved to Australia. I gained a lot of weight as a vegan. It's probably one of my heaviest. I got up to about 85 kilograms. And then I wanted to lose weight, but I was too nervous to join a gym, too embarrassed. So I started going for runs at 2, 3 a.m. when it was nighttime. Lost heaps of weight doing just juice fasting and running, so starving myself. And then I got into self-defense. Then I wanted to get stronger, and from there I learned about fitness, gym, and
so this all started about 17 onwards.
Yeah, strongly from.
And
17.
How old are you now?
25.
Okay, this is a lot in a little bit.
You learned a little about me today.
Yeah, no, I didn't know any of this.
So pretty much that was the start into my health and fitness journey. But if you told me then that I would be a strength and conditioning coach and I'll be into healthy eating and things like that, I would have never believed you. Or I'd be into lifting weights. Wouldn't have believed you.
Well, I am totally different to you. Maybe more normal for what I am in the industry now, because I've been doing fitness and training since I was 4 years old. Tennis at 4. I played every sport under the sun, because in those days there was no computers and things. It was play sport. So cricket, tennis, hockey. And tennis was my main one, and I wanted to be a professional athlete, so I've done all the weights, all the running, all of the exercising, training for 30 hours a week, and then playing tennis on top of that. So...
Complete opposites.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
So and that is a little bit of a problem in life, because I think sometimes erroneously that everyone should think like me. Like, I think lifting weights is a piece of cake, but when you see clients and they have no idea, and this is what we get paid for, I suppose, it isn't. All this stuff is tricky.
When I first started, I couldn't even lift a 20-kilogram bar. I could do it for 5 with assistance, and I could not do push-ups on my knees to save my life. And I had like the worst flexibility, worst mobility, and I hated the idea of getting sweaty. And yeah, complete opposite now.
That is so cool. All right, do you want to kick on then? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The audience has got a bit of an idea, but I do want to say one thing.
Yeah.
Because when you were talking, it came back to me. I think where we're sitting with Biohuman is we are just ordinary people, really, who are trying to improve their lives through
Health and
biohacking.
Yeah.
We're going to call it biohacking, health and fitness, whatever you're going to call it. I think I want to call it biohacking because I want to be part of something. I want to be a biohacker, be a part of a little tribe.
Yeah. Perfect. So pretty much we're just talking to anyone that was in our situation like 5-10 years ago before us, and giving them an idea of kind of our journey and everything we've over time added into our daily routines.
But not just that. We got a long way to go.
Yeah. And
We're not claiming to be experts in anything whatsoever. We're just ordinary people. We've looked on the internet. That's what's so great about where we are these days. You can look up all this stuff, and what we're going to try and do is tell you what we're doing, and you can take whatever you think is cool and just try it out, because that's all we've done. We've just found it somewhere, tried it out, and see if we can put it into our lives. Because I think sometimes you hear lots of things from experts, so-called experts, and then you just think, how can I put that into my real life? Because they don't seem to lead real lives to me.
Yeah, they got like all this free time to do things, and you're like,
Does
that's
seem,
not possible.
and well, it does seem that, and I've heard some guys, the people I like to listen to, and I think, how the hell do they put all of that into their day? They can't. He says, I do this, and this, but you can't. You can't actually physically do that. So maybe Ian does them sometimes.
Yeah.
Or he cycles in and out or something. But anyway, we want to be able to show people what can be done. So.
Okay, so we're just going to briefly go over most of our biohacks, and then over the next like episodes, we'll probably go into more detail into some of these.
Absolutely. We'll be super general.
As much as
Do you just want to
possible.
pick a topic and we'll talk what you do, what I do,
Okay.
and then just move on?
You pick a topic.
I've got them all written down.
Yeah, that's what I said.
How about, since we're in the fitness industry, why don't we just start with what sort of fitness stuff do you do?
Okay, so weightlifting is one, generally more powerlifting, and then
How many times a week?
at the moment about 3 times a week.
Is this like 9/10 of your training, or do you do a range of things?
My 2 main things is weightlifting and jiu-jitsu training, and then now also EMS at least once a week, which has been great because of all the injuries I've been getting from weightlifting and jiu-jitsu.
Well, jiu-jitsu covers a lot of modalities.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, it does.
Flexibility,
Yeah.
power.
And then on top of that, I do all my stretching, and then there's the foam rolling and the triggering, so all that comes with it. So what about you?
I like to do a range of things. I like to do gym, just normal old weightlifting, because I've done that all my life. I love EMS, which we can't really talk about. They'll have to do a spit, because that's, if you don't know what EMS is, we'll have to go through it. I like to do Pilates by myself on the mat that I do probably once or twice a week. Reformer Pilates, because we have a Reformer Pilates studio above the gym, so that seems a no-brainer. And then I like to play tennis, because people pay me money to do that.
How
So
come you
I
still play
lied about that.
tennis?
I lied about that. I do not like to play tennis anymore. I will do it if people pay me money.
They play you to be their tennis partner
Yep.
and just give them pointers. Like, that was good.
No pointers anymore.
Just to play against them.
Yep.
Jesus.
Well, so the advantage of that is that because I'm consistent, I can raise that person's level because they're playing against someone who can give them continuous stuff, and it just makes it nice. Plus, I'm willing to drive out there and do it as well. So anyway, so tennis a couple times a week, and my fun things are road biking in a group with the Lycra, and last one, golf. I love golf. So I like to live life. I don't like to watch it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't watch any sport, which seems ridiculous.
I'm the same. I hate watching sport.
I just don't have time.
Yeah, I'll
mostly.
occasionally watch like a really good fight, but that is very.
I'd like to watch the fight on the weekend.
Yeah,
but I'm
so
gonna miss
like
it.
a big card.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, watching sport just takes up too much time, and it makes you want to do the sport.
I
Every time I'm
agree.
watching a sport, I'm like, I would rather be playing that sport.
If we didn't have to work, I could watch sport.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Okay, let's move on. Diet. What did you say you are? Well, you didn't say what you were.
I don't have a category. I guess like I have 90% healthy and then 10% flexibility, but that 10% is very rare. I think my diet has changed a lot. Trying to find what works best for me, because I have like a lot of I went through the full fermented food phase, but fermented food fully breaks out my skin for some reason. It does not agree with me. So at the moment I'm not low carb, but I guess I am. The only carbs I do eat is fruit, so I have a lot of fruit in my diet at the moment just for thyroid function.
Are you saying fruit?
Yeah. Fruit is my carb mainly, fruit and veggies.
Do you know my saying is fruit makes you fat?
Yeah.
No, but ignore that.
But then the food I have is like strawberries and berries.
Yeah, they're good. Berries are good. Yeah.
I
I just don't like fruit. Blech.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't like it.
I love fruit. Easy snack.
Yeah, continue.
I guess I'm gluten free. I avoid gluten unless it's like occasional like sourdough bread every so often. Yeah, I guess that's the gist of where my diet is.
Well, I used to be 107 kilos as a personal trainer, which is a disgrace. And then I discovered that sugar was bad for you. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. Maybe not that long. And then I started losing weight really quickly when I cut out sugar. I used to have this little saying, sugar is poison. Whenever I ordered a coffee, the girl would say, would you like sugar with that? And I would say to her, sugar is poison, which is a bit weird. And they'd look at me funny. But anyway, that was for me, really, because I was trying to eliminate sugar from my diet. And then I discovered the paleo way, where they say sugar is bad and grains are bad. So I just immediately, it was easy because I was sort of doing sugar. So then I just said, well, I'm not going to do grains. And my wife laughed at me when I said that. And I go, what? And she says, but every single thing you eat has grains in it. So I will admit that I was like, I'm going to do it. But then I was like, oh, God, what am I going to eat? So then furious research on the internet gave me a paleo type diet, which I did for a bit. I actually made the same meal, because Ellie wouldn't help me, the same meal for 6 meals in a row. Can you believe that?
What was it? What was the meal?
I don't even know. This was like 10 years ago. And it was terrible. And then after the sixth one, I go, I cannot do this for another meal. So I figured it out after that. And then Ellie joined me and became even more passionate than what I was, because she was never fat. So it was me mostly who needed to do it. So I guess, blah, 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 big journey, which we can talk about another time. I'm pretty much now low carb.
Yeah.
I just feel for me that that's good, because even though I'm fairly active and I'd walk 20 to 22,000 steps every day and do lots of activities every day if I can, I'm still, if I eat carb, I'll just start putting on weight.
Yeah.
And I am 42. I can't afford to put on weight. I don't think as you get older, you get that many chances to put on weight, lose it, put on weight, lose it, put on. So got it pretty under control. I haven't been above 80 kilos for a long time now. That doesn't. I'm cool with what you said. 90% good, 10% bad. I think I'm getting towards that sort of thing, almost to the fact that I tried it with a couple of weeks without telling Ellie because she's pretty militant about such stuff. But where I'd have a cheat day, not like I'd just eat anything, but I'd eat some bread, for instance, or pizza, probably, because bread is. I'm gluten intolerant, I reckon. But anyway, that's maybe not, because that's a tricky subject.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, that's about where I'm at the moment,
I think
without
it's
going
good.
massively into it, because that's like a 5-hour talk just on diet.
I think life is way too interesting, and there's too many like delicious flavors to be so strict.
No,
That you
don't
have to
care.
allow yourself to
Don't
have
care.
a little bit here and there.
Nope, I don't care about food. I just want to look good. I'm Mr. Vain, I'm going to put out there right now.
Okay.
But I've eaten
What about
every...
when you,
But
like,
I've
have a
eaten every
chocolate
bad
cake at a
thing.
birthday?
Nope, I don't do it.
No?
I just don't eat it. Nope.
What about like at Christmas? Is like
No.
No, seriously?
Now, when we went to France, we ate every evil thing. Yes, but that was just like a one-off, super special treat for 3 days.
What about like? I guess do you have any dark chocolate?
Yeah, no, I do eat delicious things and things, but as I say to people, I don't want to be that weight ever again. And it took a mighty effort to not be like that. And it's almost like I'm scared, or I'm an alcoholic type person, where if I do something, I could go back.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to do that for anything.
That's fair.
But I'm old. Like 42 is a bit old.
Well, one thing I've realized is that pretty much, I think when I first started, like, cutting out sugar was difficult, but I think because in your head, you're consciously thinking, I'm cutting out sugar.
Yep.
But I think fruit, so food, not sugar. But...
Fruit makes you fat.
But
Fructose, woman. Fructose.
I think now I don't even, like, look at yummy food and think that I want to eat it. Like, I won't look at cake and have the desire to have it like I used to. Like, it was like when I went vegan, it was so easy to look at that's food, that's not food.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not a hard transition.
That's kind of how I look at stuff. Just what you just said.
So that's edible, that's not edible.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just do it. Yeah. Yeah, vegan's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So easy.
Mm.
Okay, so what's next?
Let's talk. Well, I'm just going down my list of things. Detox and immunity. What do you do to detox and keep your immunity good?
My list isn't as organized as yours.
I know. Well, you said to go on my list.
Bone
broth.
Okay, yeah.
Boom.
Bone broth, but I don't make fresh bone broth. Apparently, it's really easy, but I'm extremely lazy. So I do get a concentrate bone broth that's supposed to be relatively good for you.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
I've had a couple people that say they can't have that. It's like a concentrate, just make it yourself. But I think it's nice.
It is easy, but I don't do any of my diet stuff. Ellie makes every single thing. I don't even know how to do it. Say again?
I need a wife. Cool.
You need some sort of strategy, and your strategy is to go buy it. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And I've done my research, and this is like my favorite one.
Yep.
It's a Biohumans brand, and they taste delicious, and it's easy.
Yep.
Doesn't go off super easy. It takes like a few months. So yeah, it's great. My one that I've been... we're going to talk about this in our next part. But another thing is collagen powder. I've changed all my protein powders to collagen powder.
How's that good for your detox and your immunity?
It is... It was like an anti-inflammatory thing. So it's like detox.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is.
Okay, you asked me a question. So collagen powder is pretty much grinded down like beef. And it's like super high in protein, and it's...
So it must be similar to what's in bone broth.
Yeah, similar.
If you do the slow cook
they
method.
partner together.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people have
could it be, if I have bone broth that I don't necessarily need collagen powder? Or is that hard to say?
A lot of the same benefits will go hand in hand.
Because I don't like to do too many of one thing.
Yeah.
If I've got one thing under control, that's it. I've ticked that box. And unless I thought, oh, wait up, this collagen powder is great, I'm actually not going to do bone broth anymore. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, well, your bone, 90% of your bones is collagen, but as you age, your body loses the ability to make collagen anymore, so you have to substitute collagen. So that's what, but bone broth, I'm pretty sure, has some collagen in it because it is from beef.
No, heaps.
Yeah. So this is just a concentrated form, and it's got like 18 grams of protein in 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
And it's like pretty low calorie.
Well, I'm going to have to look at that one later.
But you can add it into your bone broth.
I could. Yeah.
What have you got on your detox list?
This is what I do to detox. This is my theory. I was very naughty from, say, all the way till about 35 years old, and have lots of detoxing to get rid of whatever I'm keeping in my fat. So I've tried a few different ways of detoxing and ended up in strife. So I tried an Ayurvedic detox and I was in agony and I had to stop that. I tried the other day just to fast for 3 days, which I can do. I'm good at fasting, but
How'd you go?
after the 27th hour, I was in the same agony. So for me, when I detox, I mustn't detox very well. And I know my daughter's had a genetic test and she doesn't detox well. So it makes sense that probably that could be me as well, but I haven't had the test, but probably. So when I'm detoxing, it's like an incredible sciatic pain down the back of both legs.
Really?
That just does not go away. But literally, if I stop and just eat normally, it's gone in 5 minutes.
Wow, that's
and
weird.
that's ridiculous. So I'm steering away from that sort of stuff at the moment because I'm a bit of a girl. That shouldn't say that, should I? But I'm going sauna, infrared sauna, with cold plunge pool straight after that.
Yep.
So I'm detoxing through all that sweating. I also do tennis in ridiculous heat in the middle of the day, which is good for vitamin D, but also just to sweat once again. Because other than that, I don't know about you, well, you probably do, but people don't sweat much, like really heavily sweat. And that's really good for getting toxins out of you.
Yeah.
That's probably the ones I want to talk about.
Yep.
Rather than going through that all that other stuff. Ooh.
Perfect.
Okay, next one. You talked about fermented food, probiotics. Where are you sitting now? You can't do them?
At the moment, I'm not doing any probiotics. No, not yet. And then, but right now I've got like my thyroid's been and my hormones have gone all over the place. But once they're all sorted out, then I want to start eating all those things.
That's how you do it. No, that's how you do it. So you've got to just go off it and then start again.
Yeah, and then just start adding little things.
No, I started
testing.
With probiotics. I started with a half a teaspoon of sauerkraut, the bioactive one. Yeah. Just like nothing. And even that was like, ooh.
Sauerkraut's yummy.
No, I like it,
Okay.
but you get die-off. If you have too much of whatever,
yeah.
And you're not used to it because you've been naughty forever, you get what's called die-off, and that just makes your tummy feel terrible. You feel terrible. It's like you've got the flu almost. You've obviously never experienced that.
No.
Yep, so you get die-off. So when you do probiotics, there's protocols to go by, and or maybe protocol's not the right thing, rules to introduce it all.
Yeah, maybe
so
that could have been something I did wrong.
That's a 100% topic that we can talk about.
Too far.
But now, for me, I currently do the sauerkraut that Ellie makes at home. That is more powerful than what you would buy at the shop.
Okay, so she makes it fresh.
She makes it fresh.
Perfect.
She also does kefir. We're using kefir grains, and she uses milk to make that. So that's just, say a Yakult might have 1 or 2 strains of probiotic.
Yeah.
These products you make yourself, especially the kefir, have hundreds of wild probiotic in it.
Oh, beautiful.
So you just can't do that on. I've been naughty for a very long time, and I'm going to start doing these probiotics, which are supposedly really healthy for you, which they are. But if you if you had what I eat now, and you started from where I started, you'd be in a world of pain. You'd be ill, like violently ill. Could be.
Yeah,
I've actually seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of these guys, if you research into this sort of stuff, you start at almost nothing. Even the juice of the sauerkraut you can start at, and then you just build it up bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. I used to make coconut yogurt and put a probiotic in that, and make my own, but I haven't done that for a bit.
You should make me some.
It's just ridiculously easy. It's like bone broth. It's so ridiculously easy, which for me has to be, or I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
If things aren't easy for me to do in any of the biohacking things, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the same.
Unless there's an incredible benefit. Like sitting in the infrared sauna for half an hour. That's a bit of something.
Well, the setups you got here, you can easily put like Netflix on a tablet or something.
Yeah, that's the only way I can do it. If I can't listen to a podcast, or I listen to podcasts, then I can't do it. It's just boring and takes up half an hour of my day.
I used to sit in the sauna at the commercial gym, and I used to put the phone speaker towards the end of the door so it echoed through the room. And I used to put podcasts on why you should sauna whilst I was in there. And a lot of times people walk in and they'll go turn off. They're like, oh, no, leave it on. And it's just like going through like the benefits of sauna and in-depth like science research. And they're like, oh, this is really interesting. Because that's the only thing to kind of keep me from actually sitting there after 30 minutes because I was dying. And I was just thinking about all the health benefits.
Cool.
Push through.
All right, move on. Okay. What about something a little bit different? What do you do for your brain and to de-stress? Anything biohack?
Well, meditating is probably the best biohack, and I wish I could say I did it regularly, but it's so hard for me to get in the habit of it. I can go like 2 days straight, and then I'll forget about it for like 3 weeks, and then come back to it. I'm like subscribed to the Headspace app, which I try and use, but man, I struggle to like keep it consistent because I'm one like it's hard for me to focus, and I let my mind wander, and it's so hard to keep bringing it back. But I guess I do like every once a week I go for like a 2-3 hour long walk as a way just to like relax and clear my head, and I walk and stuff a lot. But I don't meditate as much as I need to or should.
I do it once a day, twice a day if I've got time.
How do you get in the habit? How long do you do it for? 10 minutes?
Yeah, good question. There's heaps of apps where you can just get guided meditations.
Yeah, I do guided.
I like guided, but I also do unguided as well. I mix it up. I've got about 3 apps that I can choose from. Yeah. And within them, you can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
I just find 5 minutes, like, for me, a wasted time. As in, it just doesn't, like, why would I do it for 5 minutes? Though, if I have to tick a box, like, oh, I'm going to make sure I've done my meditation today, then maybe, but I can't remember the last time I did that. So most times daily I'll do something that goes for 20 minutes. If I've got time, like before we did this right now, I did 30 minutes.
Wow. How do you not fall asleep?
I don't know. People say that all the time.
I fall asleep all the time, even my 10-minute one.
Well, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with falling asleep.
At night, if I can't sleep, I'll put it on and I'll wake up. I'm like, oh, I fell asleep.
It is fabulous. If you have sleep problems, it is a fabulous way to get to sleep.
Yeah, it helps me fall asleep all the time.
Yeah, but I don't have that. So mine is I work all day and I just need 20 minutes to switch my brain off.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to get very stressed all of a sudden. So that's really, I just have to stop. If I don't stop, I'll just feel terrible.
I think I've had one experience when I was doing a guided meditation where when it ended and like it came back to, I actually felt like I was out of my body and I was coming back into my body.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like feeling my body. I was like, wow, that was like the first time I actually felt like
I've never
left my body.
I've never had that.
It was so weird. And I was like, oh, is that what meditation's supposed to feel like?
I do often, maybe 1 in every 5 depends how regularly I'm doing it, but I'm doing it regularly. So 1 in every 5 where I do what's called gapping, where the meditation goes for 20 minutes, but it feels like it went 5 minutes. I went somewhere, but I wasn't asleep. Because you come back, whatever, it's finished, and you feel like, oh, that didn't go very long, but you feel fabulous.
Yeah.
It's like you had 3 hours of sleep. But I wasn't asleep. My brain switched into something else.
Well, that's what they say, like an hour of like float tank is supposed to be like a 5 or 6 hour sleep.
Don't know.
I quote an exact number, but it's supposed to be like having a huge sleep.
I think with all these biohack things, it's all different for everybody.
Yeah, everyone will react different. So wait, when you meditate, do you do like any chants or sayings, or do you just do breathing? Do you have like thing you say to yourself? I don't do any of that. I do visualization. So if it's a guided meditation, they will tell you we're going here and you're seeing this and think about this, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to the parts of where they leave you to yourself, I do either one thing where I try and astral travel. That sounds ridiculous. Yeah, it does.
Astral travel out into the universe, and I go to places, kind of. And so I used to do that quite often, and I liked doing that. I thought that was cool. Or I would do another technique where I just try and switch my brain off and let images just come into my brain. Unsolicited images, and that's sometimes cool too. I've tried that a few times, like to try and not think, but be switch. It's
Be present and
and then just see whatever my brain wants to give me.
Yeah, that sounds so trippy to me.
It doesn't always work. It's like, as you say, sometimes I just lose concentration.
Yeah,
and I'll be thinking about my stupid day for whatever reason, and it's gone. But since most times I can get it.
Yeah, I spend most time just counting my breaths just to stop me from distracting myself.
Well, I've done it. I've probably done a meditation maybe 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So it must be at a certain number. You just do it better. It's a skill. You just get better at it. And I'm by no means a legend at it. But I find it very useful.
I think according to my app, I'm at like 100 minutes or something.
Oh really? No, I'm
So,
a teeny bit past that.
I've got a more to go.
No, but you started. You know how to do it, at least.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what else I'm doing for my brain. Nootropics.
So what type of nootropics are you on at the moment? I've never tried a nootropic before.
Look, I know next to nothing about it, and this is something that I'd like to know more about. Nootropics are substances that make your brain perform better, whether it's cognitively, what do you call it when you remember stuff?
I think we need more nootropics.
I definitely didn't have the nootropics before this. Memory retention.
Yeah.
Just performance, tension, focus. So they do that, and there's a class of them that do different things. So the nootropic I tried was Chimera coffee. Everyone's heard of that.
Is that the coffee that I've got?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, take a nootropic?
No. But you could say, no, that's not really a nootropic. No. So the Chimera coffee has a whole heap of different nootropics that are supposed to do something. So I just tried it out, and I liked it. I got an effect, but I'm going to have to do more research on that.
When do you take that coffee?
In the afternoon when I'm about 2-3 o'clock when I'm at my worst, and I need to get going again.
Is it expensive?
Yep.
Is it high in caffeine?
Yep.
Is it in how much is it like a serving?
Well, a brick costs, because you got to import it from America, is about $45.
Yeah.
And a brick of coffee is $10. So that's the difference in price.
Okay.
Is it worth it? Probably not. At this stage, I'd have to do. It's more like along the lines of all this biohacking stuff. It just keeps me going with doing all of this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a little experiment to see if it's good or bad. But I've only just scratched the surface. And in actual fact, when I was researching it, the guy that I was looking at said, don't buy Chimera coffee, buy one nootropic and try it out. And if it's good for you, because they're very oh God, how do you say individualistic? I can't even say it. So see if it's positive, neutral, or negative.
Yeah.
And then you know that class of nootropic is good or bad for you, and then you move on to the next one. But I was like, that's going to take me a long time, and I just want to see if it does anything. So I just bought the one that was blended, if that makes sense. So that was extremely lazy and perhaps not the right way. But I don't think with all this biohack stuff, there is a right or wrong way.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest problems with biohacking is everyone will go and do like 1,000 things at once and then never know which one's the bad, which one's the good. And they got to like weed through and figure out what's making them bloated or what's hurting them or what's making them too sleepy.
I don't think that's bad, though. I don't personally think that's bad.
What, going like all in at once?
Yeah, because then you can go, oh, that was good, or that didn't quite work, and then you can go backwards from there.
Yeah.
So I think
Do you
there's
know
many.
which one's having which effect?
No, I don't. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But I was interested in it then. I thought, yeah, if it just had done nothing for me, I might have just gone, not interested in this. I might think about this later.
No, that's good taking the coffee, but I'm saying if you had the coffee and then you had 3 other nootropic pills at once, and you're like,
Well,
took them all at once.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you just wouldn't know which one's doing what, and that's one of the biggest problems. People go all in and try like a million different things at one go.
That is what the guy was saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Move on. Okay. Oh, okay. Do you have any rules that you go by in life with this biohacking type principles?
I have kind of like a little thing that I live by. I actually didn't write it down. That my brother taught me when I was quite young, and he says everything in life you're doing, you have to make sure you either you have to give, love, inspire, teach, care, or help. If you're not doing those things, then you're not living a fulfilling life.
Say them again. That was too quick.
Give, so you're giving something of value to someone or like a gift.
Nice.
Love, so always showing love.
Good.
Inspire, so inspiring others around you.
Good.
Teach, so teaching. Caring and help, and helping others. So that's the main thing I live by. So I try and give, love, inspire, teach, care, and help.
That is a lot of things.
It's a lot of things. But it's a good list to live by.
No, fair enough. Oh. Well, I go by n equals 1. I'm totally the opposite. N equals 1. Which means n is a scientific thing for a subject. And so in this subject, there's only one, yourself. So I think with yours is good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But in biohacking, I think you got to treat yourself as yourself. And what works for me, not necessarily going to work for you.
Yeah.
In fact, probably won't in a lot of cases. So, yeah.
That's one thing we realized, that if our clients did everything that we did, we'll think that they will have like success, but a lot of things we do might not work for them.
No.
So they might not react the same way as we do.
No.
So not everything.
Well, it might not work for them. They might not like it, and if they don't like it, they're not going to do it. So it's got to.
Yeah, like as soon as something gives a little bit of discomfort, a lot of people will shy away from it.
So I go by this n equals 1 rule because of those reasons. And I think in days gone by, like when I was growing up, n equals 1 didn't work because you couldn't get information easily. So you had to trust the government or teachers or whoever to give you the information. They had to sort of give information that kind of worked for everybody. And there's a lot of arguing to or fro whether that was right or wrong, but that was just the way it is. But these days, the internet, there's no excuses. If you're educated and you can read and you got access to the internet, you can look up everything yourself.
You don't need to read. You can tell your computer to speak to you.
Do you? Okay. Well, you don't even need to read. Okay. But you do need access to the internet.
Yeah, access to the internet.
Yeah. So I think there's no need to wait for what the government says. You don't need to listen to your parents. You can listen to experts, and then you can decide whether you agree or disagree with that expert, because that doesn't mean
that they're right.
No, it doesn't at all.
Yeah, there can be a million different experts saying a bunch of different things. You got to figure out what works for you. Everybody's completely different.
Yeah, and a lot of times I'll listen to people and I'll think, I like what he's saying. I'm going to try that. I try it as the subject, n equals 1. And if I get positive results, I'm continuing on. If I get negative results, I don't do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I approach biohacking.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things people have a problem with is there's uncertainty. Like you can try something and it may work or it may not. So a lot of people just don't even bother trying to see if it's going to work for them.
I don't think that's bad though, because maybe I want to be less stressed.
Yeah.
There's probably 100 techniques.
Yeah.
Probably 1,000,000. I don't know. Just say there's 100 techniques. If I try a few and I don't like them or I don't give them a big enough go, it doesn't really matter. As long as I get one that does work for me, it's mission accomplished, I think. Which I think why biohacking is cool. There's just so many different things that you can do and try and have a shot at.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also it's evolving all the time with like science and technology.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think it's fun too because I've got things to look forward to all the time, things to try.
Yeah.
I don't get bored. I like to do the same things a lot. I'll put it into my routine, like meditation. That's in the routine. Yeah, I like the consistency, but also, weirdly, if I do the same things all the time, I'm going to get bored.
Yeah.
Even though I like doing the same things and they're getting me good results, I've got to have something else to look forward to. So that's why don't we just want to move on to that?
Yeah.
Our top 5.
So we're going to go through our top 5 biohacks that we're interested in at the moment or we're doing at the moment that we've been spending a little bit of time looking at.
Why don't you do one and then I'll do one?
Okay. So my number 1 that is new into my life right now is a natural thyroid. So I've been looking a lot into thyroid supplements. So I actually found out today that the number one most prescribed prescription drug in America is actually a thyroid hormone.
That can't be right. What about
that is
what
right.
about statins?
They said thyroid number 1 now. It was number 2 5 years ago, and now it's number 1. So
Holy
everyone has thyroid issues because of
I believe that.
pesticides,
No, I
food
believe
chemicals. Stress is one of the biggest factors. So I've actually started on a natural thyroid, which is the thyroid taken from a pig's thyroid gland. And the reason why I've gone on this one is because what they're prescribing, the synthetic one, is only T4, and your body has to change the T4 into T3, which is why a lot of people aren't super successful with it.
I have listened to a lot of podcasts on thyroid and all the T4, T3, blah, 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 blah. And I have to admit, because I don't have any of those issues, I've never memorized any of it.
Yeah.
So I have a very vague understanding of it.
So the pig thyroid gland has the T4, T3, T2, and T1.
Gee, that's good.
So it gives you everything. So whereas the synthetic one just gives you the T4.
And what are you hoping for?
So
is this something you're taking all the time now?
So this is, now I'm taking this twice a day. And my goal is to get, so right now they say your thyroid, the range for the thyroid is between 0.5 and 3.5. So the range is huge. And they actually took this range when they
I have to say to you, when you give numbers like that, when I listen to other podcasts, I find it very annoying because the American ones, they'll go these numbers. And then I look on my blood work and I go, they're not the same numbers.
So that's the Australian range.
Okay. Yeah, anyway.
But the range, they did it because they took a sample of 100 people of their bloods, and then that's how they made the range.
Okay.
But the blood tests were based on sick people.
Okay.
So the range is huge. But anything over 2 is weight gain. So they should start actually giving people
so you're taking thyroid medication to stop weight gain?
To stop weight gain, yeah.
And be normal?
To get it to about a 0.5, which right now I'm on a 3.3. So I'm considered clinically sick because of my thyroid.
How long should that take to work?
They said about 6 weeks until it fully kicks in. So it took me about a year until we finally figured out what the issue was. So that's the main thing, that biohacking thing I'm playing with right now. So I'm playing with my thyroid in a natural way. So I'm very excited about that.
Okay. Boring. No, not boring. My number 1, float tank. Float tank. No, float tank. Number 1, naked. And you're naked in water. Come on, exciting.
In the dark.
In the dark, yes. Yep, I went float tanking for the first time about a week ago. And it's you go into a pod, looks like a clam. You hop in, You put some earplugs in. You're naked. Did I mention that?
I think you just want to be naked.
And then you're floating in the Epsom salts, which they had a picture of. So there's not much water, and there's 500 kilograms of Epsom salts. So that's, I think Epsom salts is magnesium sulfate.
Yeah, so you're supposed to, the idea is you're weightless.
You're absolutely weightless, and hopefully you're sucking in magnesium into your body, because most people probably need a bit of that. I know I probably do.
Yeah.
So I think I got a benefit out of it. So I liked the sensory deprivation because there was no light, no sound. I was floating. I was able to go into a meditative state in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's 'cause
Which
you're good at
normally,
meditating.
but normally it takes me 5 to 10 minutes to get my whole body to just sort of sink into the floor and I can't feel it.
Yeah.
But I did it in about 10 seconds in that thing.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting because most people will go from float tanks as their first thing for meditating.
Oh,
but
really?
someone with a meditation kind of background, they've
Oh,
been doing
God.
it.
I just
It'd
think
be a good
that's...
translation.
There's no way I could have done float tanking without...
No
having-
meditation.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
way. It's an hour of lying and doing nothing.
They should do that. They should actually offer guided meditation audio when people
I
are
agree.
using
That would
float
be...
tanks.
But then you don't get the sensory deprivation stuff.
No, you get like that period of quietness.
No, of course. No, what they do is they have music for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that would
So,
be good.
like, my first time I did a float tank, I think I was like 18, 19. So, obviously not into meditating. And it was winter, so I was kind of cold when I was in there.
Yeah, because it's sort of at your
But it was at
skin
my
temperature.
I was cold. And I, like,
True.
for some reason couldn't stop bumping off the side. So I spent the whole time just bumping up and down. I
Didn't
couldn't
touch
stay
the
still.
side once.
I was like, I think I was finding it more fun pushing off the
Once.
side.
Yeah.
And I was pretty bored for an hour. But that was when I was 18, so it wasn't for me at the time.
No, that's
I've done
fair
it
enough.
since.
Yeah.
It was good since.
So
Yeah.
I have a injury in my left shoulder, which gives me a lot of pain that I'm trying to manage. And I found after getting out of the float tank that I probably had a day and a half where I felt really good, non-painful. Not it's better, but non-painful. So they did say that in the thing that it helps with pain. So I'm going to give it a big tick for that.
Yeah.
And I think it is a detoxing type biohack as well.
Yeah, I think the magnesium will make it a detox.
Yep, definitely. Okay, that's mine.
My number 2 was collagen powder, but I talked quite a bit about that already.
Well, my number 2 was nootropics, so we've done that.
Yeah. Okay, so my next one is rose hip oil. So I actually have extremely sensitive skin. So whatever I put on my skin, it just fully breaks out. So I started using rose hip oil constantly on my face instead of anything else. And that is high in vitamin E, all your omega-3, 6 and 9, and vitamin C, and it's an antioxidant.
How do you take it?
I use it on my skin. So the
As
oil,
a cream.
a cream or just the oil. So I put the oil mainly underneath my eyes. So it's supposed to be for anti-aging and anti-wrinkle. So I have a couple of clients that are in their 50s that look amazing. So every time I have clients that have like pretty much wrinkle-free that are older, I always ask what they do. And the most common thing I got was rose hip oil every morning, every night.
This is ticking my Michael is vain radar.
Yeah, so
Is
you
this
just get it, and just put dabs underneath your eyes, and don't rub it because you don't want to make wrinkle eyes, and
But
just dab it.
I think men look good with wrinkles as they get older.
Yeah, until
Am I
you're
right
like,
about this?
there's an extent.
Is there a limit?
You look wiser.
Wiser. Okay.
So yeah, that's probably one of the other main will be considered biohack that I do really regularly. It's rose hip oil. That I think more people should start doing. Which you should.
Okay,
look
well, we
into.
can put that. We'll put that. I'm writing it down on my list of things to look into, and maybe we can talk about it at a later date. Okay, because I know nothing about it.
People use it on scars. It's been used in ancient like medicines.
I got scars. Boom. Yeah.
I used to put it
Okay.
on my I have a huge scar on my stomach. I used to put it on a lot when I was younger, but I don't do it anymore. I had a car aerial go through my stomach when I was 3 years old. Don't climb on cars when you're a kid. I'm alive though. Okay, what's your next one?
Blue light glasses.
Yeah, I've only seen you wear them once.
That's because I had to give them to somebody.
Why?
We know when we were playing around with teaching me how to use Instagram.
Yeah.
And I've got that cool picture of me wearing blue glasses.
Yeah.
Well, someone actually follows our Instagram and said, I love those glasses. And then Ellie was like, oh, this lady's had this, she had cancer and she's done this and this and she's turned her life around, blah, blah, blah. And she was telling me about your glasses and how she loves them and she's an office worker, blah, 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 blah. And then I pretty much had to give them to her.
I think we should start stocking them.
No, so then what I thought was, all right, I've done a good deed and that lady's been using them because she is actually an office worker.
Yeah.
I am not an office worker. I got the blue glasses. I'll backtrack.
But we got like a lot of white lights in this gym.
I got the blue glasses because I was doing a little bit of computer work and I was listening to some podcasts and they were talking about blue light glasses helping to make your eyes feel nicer.
Yeah.
Less tired. So I got them. They were so cheap, and of course they're not that cheap anymore. That was like some sort of super special
really?
lucky duck deal that I got. But anyway, so I got them, and I tried them for a bit, and I don't know. I don't know actually. So that's why they're on my top 5 list of things I'm interested in. Because then I went and ordered some better ones.
Yeah, I actually got an email for a deal of some blue blocker glasses recently.
Did you? Yeah.
I should find out who it was.
Yeah, there's
like
another
Dr.
there's another episode there
Yeah.
because there's a lot to this blue blocker things. How good are they? How much light do they block out? Do they block out 70%, 50%? Blah blah blah. Or do they use a red lens, a blue? What? Yeah, there's so many options. Do they look good? Do they look terrible? Yeah, the one that's supposed to be the best is one that like totally covers your eye.
Yeah.
It's like a goggle. I'm not wearing them.
You should wear them.
I ain't wearing them. So
Give
I have ordered two different types. They cost me $100 in total. So that was a bit of a splurge. So I'm going to try them out when they come.
Dibs.
And I ordered them off Amazon, I think. And that was like a week ago.
Yeah.
So how long is that going to take?
Is Amazon American?
Yep. Did you just say is Amazon American?
I don't know. Did
They were
in Australia?
They were coming from America, so they're going to take a while probably.
Yeah, at least 10 days.
So yeah. So that's blue glasses. We'll have to report on them later.
Cool. Okay, my next biohack is vitamin D. So I was brought up to avoid the sun. So my mom's always, from like a teenager, I've been told to avoid the sun at all costs because it's bad for your skin and aging and things like that. And even my doctor that I went to go see for my hormones confirmed that I need to start going in the sun. Just mornings and evenings, just avoid it when it's like really hot. And he said you shouldn't get skin cancer unless you get burnt. He said just don't get burnt. He said that's one of the worst things you can do.
I kind of like that. That could be total crap.
What, getting
But
burnt?
that what you just said. But anyway. No, I like that.
Yeah.
That's why I try very hard not to get burnt because of
Yeah.
what you just
He
said.
said just
But
don't
is
get
that
burnt.
right? I don't know.
Well, he said that's what it's worse for your skin. He said
Okay.
if you get the vitamin D needed in Australia by going out like in the mornings and in the evenings.
That's just total
Sounds
crap.
like that.
Do you believe in that?
What, the vitamin D?
No, that what you just said.
I guess. Yeah.
I know we're going to have to do an episode on that because I firmly believe that you have to get your vitamin D between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Which is like the
get
opposite.
vitamin D without it being like the hottest time of the day.
No, you have because I don't know which one it is, UVA or UVB. And what you do need is only in the middle of the day. Can't remember if it's UVA or UVB. In the other parts of the day, whichever one you need for vitamin D production, there isn't any.
Okay, we need to do a research episode on this.
No, yep. And look, that's going to be super controversial, no doubt.
Yeah. Anyway, so the reason for that is because they did a lot of studies showing that the really high doses of vitamin D in your blood has
What's the person
decreased.
that looks at your skin? What are they called? The doctor? What's their special name?
Skin doctor?
No.
Skin doctor?
Definitely. What are you calling it?
I don't know. I know that.
It's not a dermatologist.
I was
Is
going to
it
say
a
Yeah,
dermatologist?
it's a dermatologist, isn't
Is it?
Yeah. I want to go
Dermatologist.
with dermatologist.
The fancy one, the doctor.
Yeah.
The person that takes me a year in advance to go and see, that person.
Okay.
She says that I should just not go in the sun at all.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I think I agree
Anyway.
with just supplementing with vitamin D.
Okay,
As long
sorry.
as you have high doses of vitamin D.
Is this your biohack number 4?
Yeah, supplement
Okay.
vitamin D.
Okay, got you.
I prefer a supplement, or I go for like I get it in the early mornings or evenings, or I'm in the sun but kind of in the shade.
I don't. I know we've talked about this before, and I'm gonna have to look into it because I'm just like, why do I need to supplement vitamin D if I'm sucking in lots of sun and making it myself?
Have you had your vitamin D tested?
Yeah, it's off the chart. It's off the chart.
What
Good.
was it?
100
Was it?
140.
Okay, that's good. That's
We
perfect.
just set a number though.
Okay. Well,
140,
mine was
whatever's
140.
Australian standards.
Mine was 143, so they stayed between 50 and 150. But they've done studies showing that if you're over 150, you actually had like
See, that
decrease the
sounded
risk
interesting.
Of Alzheimer's
Yeah,
and
that sounded
dementia
interesting.
and all those things, and a lot of cancer. So they actually had an increase in cancer when the whole slip slop slap came in. And they've actually dropped that now because all the sunscreen has actually made it worse for cancer because people won't get.
Oh my
vitamin D.
god! All right? We have to have this podcast where no one can write any comments.
Okay. We're
It's
gonna do a vitamin D one.
commentless podcast.
It's all science, I swear.
I know
Okay.
it's just still tricky stuff.
Yeah, it is.
That sort of thing.
Okay, what's your next biohack?
Well, let me just backtrack. What if I'm getting all my vitamin D from how I like to do it at 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
So I'm getting that when I'm playing tennis and detoxing with my shirt off, wearing next to nothing.
You
So
just
I'm
want to
all
be naked again.
pretty much. Yeah. Lawrence is cool with it. But all right, I do all that and my thing's really good, and then I get skin cancer and I die.
Well, it happens.
Do you know what? I think just because we're doing stuff that it might be right, what we're doing might be wrong. We're trying our best. But even you could be doing right or wrong and bad stuff happens to you.
Yeah.
Because it is the n=1
Yeah, exactly.
overall.
Yeah. Well, when I was originally going vegan and I was doing heaps of research, I was like, I never want to die of a disease that I could have prevented. That I knew that I could have prevented. Like if you're doing something like
Well,
eating,
smoking's easy. Bang.
yeah.
Don't smoke. There you go.
So that was one reason why I never smoked. I didn't want to smoke because I want to have to give it up because it's going to cause issues in the future.
But the vitamin D one is trickier.
Yeah. I think that one's still.
Because every dermatologist, I don't think it is, that's what they call it, but anyway, dermatologist
Well, as long as you got
will
a
say
high.
their favourite one is don't even go in the sun. That's
Yeah.
how you stop skin cancer. And I just don't think that's right, but they really do.
I avoid the sun. I'll just make sure that
I don't
there's
get
like
burnt.
a
I like
10
your
minutes,
original one.
Just
I just don't get burnt.
Yeah.
And I try and get my vitamin D in the middle of the day because I'm pretty sure that's when you got to do it.
Okay.
We'll have to do some research on this. I'm going to go into my last one. Have you done your last one?
No.
Oh.
Yet.
Oh, no. My next one was saunas.
Oh, I think you meant like because we were talking about drugs. The last one, if I've actually done my last one.
Are you up to your last one?
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm not talking about saunas because we talked about that before.
Yeah.
DMT, that's my thing that I'm interested in a bit down the track.
Yeah.
I don't know what DMT stands for, but its nickname is the spirit molecule.
Yeah.
And it's the active ingredient in LSD, ayahuasca, other stuff probably.
So what type of hallucinogenic are you thinking about? Ayahuasca,
Nah.
LSD.
I would like to if I could somehow get it. A microdose of that.
Just go into the right like alleyway
I
and
know. I
wink
just
at the right guy.
I'm making inquiries, but
Don't
it's
forget
something.
which kids sell drugs around here.
It's something that I've known nothing about. Run across it and just want to know more about it.
Yeah.
Do I want to get that experience that people talk about? I don't think I do right now, but maybe in 10 years' time I would,
Yeah.
maybe. And so I'm thinking of just doing some research on it.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, you can go to Chile and do ayahuasca.
Yeah.
With proper shamans who are meeting the tourist trade and not too many bad things are happening.
Yeah.
Could-
I think
could
it'd be
do that.
awesome to go to South America and do it. And do one of the actual weekend retreats. They put you on a really strict diet. Some places make you fast beforehand for a couple of days. Other places give you like pretty much a paleo-based diet.
Yep.
Before you do it, and then a lot of them actually are linked with like yoga and meditation retreats as well. So you can do like a full like spiritual retreat.
Yeah, Ellie sent me one of those, and she wrote on her text, She gave me the link to look at it. And she wrote, really, 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 there were 3 reallys, want to do this. And
It's really cool when you have a wife that's into it as well.
She's way more into it than me. But, yeah, okay, so DMT. More on that later.
On the psychedelic theme, I wrote psychedelic mushrooms.
What's it called? Psilocybin?
Yeah, psilocybin mushrooms.
Psilocybin.
They actually did a study not too long ago in America that they gave mushrooms to cancer patients, only 1 high dose, and the effects lasted 1 year, and it decreased depression and anxiety for 1 year.
I just don't know why we can't legally do these things.
Yeah.
I can understand if you're a child or under 18 maybe.
But we can have McDonald's and alcohol.
Yeah,
We're like one of the biggest drinking cultures
too.
in the world.
I know.
And that's legal.
But I would like to try the mushrooms as well. But I don't want to do it myself. I'd like some expert laboratory testing and making it for the last 20 years. They're geniuses at it. And I pay the money and then the government gets some tax. Everyone wins. But that's just not how it is.
Well, we've seen what's happened with like marijuana in America. Like they've changed, like you can actually pick what you want the strain to do and what you want it for. So if all drugs are legal, you can be like, I just want a 2-hour psychedelic trip. I want to see this. I want to see that, and they'll be able to do it.
Yeah, I just don't. Or maybe we should do a bit of research because I'm only thinking about the pros. Wonder what the cons are with all these things.
I think these ones are relatively natural, but I think some people do have negative trips, but it's because it makes them see things they don't want to see. I think that's more the negative things that come out of psychedelics. But that's also a good thing because you're like going dark.
I think it'd be good to interview someone who's actually done these things.
We'll look into that.
Yeah.
Taking note.
Yeah, because we can say whatever we like. We don't know anything. Yeah. Well, I don't. Does Tia know?
Not yet.
No, Michael doesn't.
Give me a week.
Okay, all right. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
All right, that was episode number 1 for, what are we calling it?
Biohumans.
Biohumans. Whoa. Biohumans at biohumans.com.au.
Yeah. So pretty much the reason why we started this is because there's so many different like biohacking podcasts and things like that, but everyone goes into way too much scientific detail and it's so hard to understand.
No, we're going to do that. We're going to do that.
We're going to do that too, but I mean like
but a normal person can understand.
Yeah, we're trying to dumb it down so we can understand it
but
too.
That's where we're at.
Yeah. We want so we can understand it.
Okay, so we're going to go away now and listen to this, which will be painful. Listening to your own voice. Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's it. Michael signing off.
Awesome, thank you.
Right.